stream our mistakes, and we're making a lot of mistakes right now. So we're having a hard time with Matt's screen for some reason, but I think we'll figure it out. And I think that should be good enough if you can keep it keep it
Yeah.
feeling all filled out. I think once we get it to on Twitch and we have the other software, then maybe that won't be that big of a deal. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So
Just let me know if you see any problems, because I can't
yeah,
tell.
yeah, I will, especially if it gets small. I think for the most part, um, should be okay. I'll be asking lots of questions because this is the first time I've seen this. This is the Unity IDE that you're using.
Yeah, it's the Unity editor.
Nice. And and this is basically all you need for creating games in Unity. Is that correct? Like you don't
Um,
need a standalone, right? Besides some SDK
yeah, I
and
mean,
.NET frameworks or what?
well, that's all included in this when you download it. The only thing is you you can edit some C# code, and
You could or you
there's a
couldn't.
place to edit it. No, you can.
Oh, okay.
If you wanted to, you might want to use an external editor for that part.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it.
But if you're okay with this, then you can do it all from within here.
Oh, okay. So you don't necessarily need another editor for the C# code.
No, no.
Okay. Yeah, that's cool. And this is free, right? If I wanted to go download it, I haven't got this yet, so I
Yep,
was
yep. It's
have to maybe
free.
get that.
I haven't paid anything for it.
And is there a difference for the platform as far as using creating like a 2D game versus a 3D game? Is like a different engine?
There is actually. I mean, most of the. I haven't done any 3D work actually, but like when you first create a project, it asks you if it's going to be 2D or 3D.
Okay. But it's the same editor though. You don't need a different version of the editor or something like
Oh yeah, yeah.
that. Okay,
And
cool.
most of the logic and stuff is going to be the same,
Got it.
but there's
Cool.
just a little bit more to it.
That sounds cool. Yeah, I have to try some. I'm glad you're doing this because then I want to I get to
Yeah,
learn, and
yeah.
see what you guys do and see how far we get on this. But all right, so what are we gonna build today, Matt? What are you gonna build for us? What are we gonna try to build?
So, so we have this tutorial that I'm going to follow, which is create a clone of the Flappy Bird game.
Yeah, that's in 2D, right?
It's a 2D game, yeah. So it's a bird. It's moving left to
Flying
right
through.
across the screen,
Cool.
and there are obstacles. And if you click on the screen, the bird jumps up a little bit.
Right. I
And
think
you try
most
to
people.
do that to dodge obstacles. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, yeah, I think most people are familiar with the word Flappy Bird, even if they don't know what the game is. It was kind of like
Right.
a sensation. So
Yeah, it was a sensation. All right.
that's cool. Yeah, cool. All right, then I'll just let you go ahead and walk us through. It's all yours. Take it away.
Okay, so I haven't followed this tutorial, so I'm just going to go straight through it.
Okay, perfect. And we'll post a link to that later. So actually,
Yeah.
I take that. I posted a link in the description box.
It's in
So
the
that way,
description. Yeah.
yeah, that's perfect. That way, someone wants to see it, they can actually look there right now. Sorry there.
Yeah. So first step here is I'm going to change my main camera to
Wait. So
have
did you already start? Did you already start a new project here on this one?
Oh yeah, sorry, I skipped that step.
Okay. I'm
That's
just
the only
curious
step I'll
if
skip.
that's
I was just opening
okay.
up the editor. Yeah.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, that could take a few minutes. I didn't want to wait on that. So I'm just going to set the background color here for my
Basically, the
camera.
the whole canvas. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can see this little color window, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So I'm going to go with this value here. This is going to be a sky, I guess.
Okay, like a soft blue, very light blue.
Yeah, a sky blue.
Yeah. Nice.
So you can see, the idea here is like you have this window where you have your scene, and you kind of get an idea of what things are going to look like before you even start like running the game or whatever. You have a
Right.
layout and stuff.
It's kind of like a storyboard. Is that what you call that? A storyboard almost?
Sure, it's called like the scene.
Okay.
Yeah. So I downloaded. It came with these sprites. So like there's the bird, the ground, the obstacle, the background. So I'm gonna see how this looks pretty simple, but it's actually a sprite. This background image here.
Yeah.
So like if you wanted to get fancier, you could have like clouds or whatever in this sprite, but this just like a few bars of color.
Got it. Okay, so a sprite is technically, it looks like a PNG file, like just a graphic file, portable graphic file. And that sprite over here on the right is basically those bars of light. So it's almost like a gradient without the gradient, right? So it's got a lighter shade on top and then a darker one on the bottom.
Yeah, that's just the specific sprite. Like that's just the image. You could put whatever you want in there.
Right. Got it. Okay. Perfect. So you're gonna make that the background?
Yeah. So okay, 1 second.
All right. So this is why you were saying that there wasn't any real code to check in then, right? When I was talking about
so a lot of it is not. You don't even like a lot of the engine and like boilerplate physics stuff. You don't have to do all that yourself.
Okay. All right. So when we get to it, I want to see what files it generates, and let's say, for example, if you do check it in, what would you upload so that I can pull it down and load it up on my system, right? If we're working on a game together, for example, right? We can worry about that later.
Right.
I just want to see what you do so far.
So this sprite that's imported, I'm setting this thing here, this pixels per unit to 16. And that's like, that means a 16 by 16 square of pixels is going to fit into 1 square unit of the game.
Okay.
So that's kind of like your scale or whatever.
Right.
Okay, so you see I imported, or I put this sprite into my scene here in this main camera. So now you actually see the sprite like within the scene.
Right. But that's incorrect, right? Or that's not what you wanted, right?
No, that is what I wanted. What's wrong with that?
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Go for it. Keep going. Yeah, keep going.
So
I don't want to start saying something like this game sucks. It's crap.
Please hold
give you a chance.
Please hold your criticism till the end.
Yeah. I'm gonna hold my applause to the end too. So go for it.
So if I click, so there are properties here, right? Like the main camera is where I went in to change the background properties, and then I also have this background sprite itself has these properties.
Right.
So you have this like the renderer, the transform. So I could do position, rotation, scale. I'm going to do a position here, y-1, just to move it down a little bit because they say that it'll fit better with the game.
Okay. Yeah. So the reason I was curious if that's how you want it is because when I seen the background little sprite down at the bottom, I thought that was going to tile across or down on the background. I didn't know it was going to fill up that much. I thought it was going to be like 16 pixels, meaning really small on the screen, you know?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
In my mind, that's what I was thinking. I was expecting to see. That's why I was like, oh, are you going to change it? I thought you just imported it. And it looked like you got some kind of notification or error or something. So.
Oh, so that yeah, maybe I went through that. I went too fast, but the reason that it said that is because I was changing some settings here. I changed these settings here, and then I didn't click apply, and then I went to drag it in, and it said you have stuff that's not applied. So then I said yes, apply it. So yeah, I probably went through that one too fast.
That's okay. I mean, that's why we're doing it at the same time, right?
Yeah. Okay. So, and then I can see how this. So you could press play and nothing really happens yet, obviously, but that's kind of when there is stuff, you'll see that. It's kind of nice. You can just immediately go to that play.
Okay. So that window basically is your drag and drop, WYSIWYG, and then you can play also to just fire it up right from the same window.
Right.
Ooh, that's interesting. Yes, very different. Not what I would expect, but I guess that makes more sense, right? At making a game, or right. Say they're doing all the coding work in the back end in the engine for you, right? And you just get to make the game, which is kind of awesome, actually.
Right. So okay, so part of this property here, another one that comes up a lot is this order and layer. Mm-hmm. So the sprites will be drawn, like you're gonna have multiple sprites overlapping, right? Like I'm gonna have this guy background, and then in front of that I'm gonna have some grass, and then the obstacles, and then the bird. And you want to make sure that they're all drawn in the proper order. So like you don't want your sky in front of the bird.
Right.
So
what you can do is, in the visual layer from the viewer to what's in front, what's in back, right?
Right. Like sort of a depth almost.
Like a stacking layer. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So there are two levels you can do this. You can have actual layers. So if you had like a group of objects, then you could put them in layers and then sort the layers themselves. And then you can also sort within the layer. Since I don't have that many sprites, I'm only going to use the default layer. And I'm just going to have this one be -1 because I always want it to be in the back, furthest in the back.
Okay. So if you do -1 on this, the bird would be 1, and so will the obstacles, or 0. I mean.
Well, I have to set it on the obstacles and the bird, but yeah, that would be a reasonable thing to do.
Because the reason I say that is because, say the bird and the obstacle.
Hello. I think you cut out there. Your mic cut out.
Hello?
Hello? Okay. I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Hello? Hey, man, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like I dropped the connection, I guess.
It looks like there's 2 eddyisms in the call right now.
That's okay. It's me and some other dude.
Okay.
Looks like I rejoined somehow. Double W.
Yeah.
Let me change this to keep yours on. Okay, you're back on.
Okay.
Well, at least the call rejoined and the broadcast came back.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Still going. Okay, so I think you were asking me a question about ordering, right?
Yeah, and I was just saying, if, for example, you don't want the bird and obstacle. You want them to be on the same layer so that the bird is never going to fly behind the obstacle. Right? It's going to hit the obstacle. So you want to be on the same layer.
Yeah.
Is that am I true? Is it true? Is that a true statement or no?
Well, it's up to you. But the thing is, if you leave them with the same number, it's gonna kind of arbitrarily choose one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh,
if you
okay.
specify, I mean, for the bird and the obstacle, I don't really know what makes sense. You kind of have to look at it, right?
Okay. I'm
Like,
just curious. Sorry, I'm asking more questions because I feel like you know more, but maybe you're still learning it as well too. So,
no,
just
that one
cool.
I'm saying is more of an open question.
Got it.
Because, like, of course, you'd want to have the sky behind the bird, but
Right.
bird in front of the obstacle or obstacle in front of the bird. I
Right.
don't know. I'd have to look at it myself
Right.
and see which one looks better.
That's why just in your explanation, I'm thinking, oh, those would be on the same layer, because then on the same layer, they would be able to interact and not pass in front or behind each other. But I could be misunderstanding this whole concept. So
Well, I think there's still a case where when they collide, when there's any overlap, um,
you can program
well,
collision or something.
most of the physics will be written so that they're not allowed to pass through each other, right?
That was
But
my assumption, but go continue. Let's see
yeah,
what it
it
says.
depends. Yeah, I mean, it's probably good practice to pick an order anyways,
Right.
just so you have consistency.
Right.
And it's all relative too, so you don't have to like have one on each number or something. Okay, so now I want to put in some ground as well. So this is like the project area down here, where this is like my resources and things that aren't in the game. Like these are PNGs I have in a folder somewhere.
Yeah, those are like the assets. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah. So over here I have my settings. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. Make this one 16. And then this time I'm actually going to hit apply. Then I'm gonna drop it in to my drop it into my scene here.
Got it. Okay, so you basically select it down at the bottom, then you adjust the properties on the right tab with the property tab, and then once that's set and you apply those properties, you drag it from that folder down at the bottom and into your main camera scene.
Right. You can think of this one down here. This is more like the raw PNG.
Right.
And then these up here are like objects. So I could use the same PNG and then make multiple.
You can resize it, flip it on the side, and do whatever you want. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So this.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. So you can reuse these bottom ones over and over again and with different properties.
Yeah. So I'm going to change the position on this ground here as well.
Okay.
All right. That's looking pretty nice already.
Nice. -6.
Yeah.
Is that what you put? Got
Yeah.
it. Okay. So basically the rest of that is
because I don't want it to be centered in the middle.
Got it. So you moved it all the way down and you only took the top, top quarter of it basically.
Right. And then here.
So you didn't necessarily squeeze it all the way down, meaning you didn't compress the image. You actually moved the whole thing down, and the bottom part of it just got cropped off. It's off screen.
Yeah, that was position, not scale.
Got it.
Okay, and then for this one, I'm gonna put this as. This answers your question from earlier, I guess. I'm gonna make this one order 1. And then the bird and the obstacles will be both on 0.
Got it.
Okay, so now I'm going to add some actual like physics properties here. So the background is just a sprite. It's only visual. Like nothing in the game actually interacts with it physically. But the ground, you want to have the bird, when the bird hits the ground, then it's game over, right?
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to go over here, and then this is where you add like your properties, and it's called component, I guess.
Okay.
But you can see these different kinds of things here. And so I'm going to do this physics 2D, and then box collider 2D.
Okay.
So this will handle things will be able to collide with this object if I do this, if I give it this box collider 2D component.
That's interesting. So you're giving hold on. So you're giving the properties of that ground object this particular component, which is basically you're adding like, I don't know, like basically like a class, huh? You're attaching that class with all those methods inside of it that you can control.
Yeah, in a way, yeah.
I mean, that's what the physics, that's what the engine is doing for you, right? With that.
Right.
Got it.
And then there are other ones like box collider, or there's more, because it's just a box. But if I wanted more like precise physics, if this was a weird shape or something, then I could use something else. But the box collider is going to be simplest and fastest.
Okay. So yeah, okay. So that's basically that whole makes that whole surface something that you would interact with, and then what's the rest of it? Say edit collider. That's you can do stuff to that, and then offsets, right? Sizes, edge, radius.
Sorry, where are you reading?
Used
from?
by effector. On the right side where it says box collider 2D.
Like the options of it. Yeah. So most of this I'm not even going to.
Okay. Yeah. No, I know. I'm just curious. That's where you can edit and do things to that, right?
Right.
Because that'd be cool. Like maybe once this is done, you can change it to like when the bird touches the ground, he like instead of just being game over, it could like catch fire and burst into flames, right?
Right. Sure.
Something more interesting, right? Like lava, for example, right?
Yeah. That's probably still done somewhere else, but
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, try that. So, it's telling me that I'm going to have the obstacles and the ground, so I'm going to have these obstacles and then also the ground, and then I'm going to want them to overlap, right? But if they're both in the same layer, then Unity is going to have a problem with them overlapping. So the way that we solve this is make a new physics layer. So I'm going to add a layer. This is the layer that this actual object is on, or this ground thing is on. So I'm going to make a new one here, and then what do they call it? Weird physics. Okay, now I go back to the ground, and then I'm gonna assign it to the weird physics layer.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go up here. Project setting, physics 2D. And then, so this is maybe a little hard to read, but these are the collisions.
Okay.
So this is weird physics colliding with the default layer, transparent effects, ignore raycast, water, UI. These are all like built-in layers that I don't have anything on anyways. But what I'm going to do is make weird physics not collide with weird physics.
Okay.
So basically, this will allow me to have all the ground and the obstacles can can exist at the same place, and it won't
Right.
be considered a collision.
Got it. It won't get weird or anything, right?
Yeah, yeah, it'll work all right. Okay. I'm gonna try this. Let's see if this shows up.
Okay. Yeah, that went big.
Okay. Cool. Nothing interesting yet though.
Right.
So let's get to the best part, the bird.
The bird. Let's get the little bird.
So 16 pixels per unit as before. And then this one's going to be sprite mode multiple. Because
Okay,
you
so
see
that's
how
because yeah, so you're basically making that at a GIF because it's multiple frames, right? Not just one frame, a single frame.
right,
It's gonna cycle through all the iterations of the
right. Like
GIF.
this actual PNG has the 4 different frames on it,
Got it.
which
Okay.
is much easier to work with than 4 different PNGs.
Yeah, I think the very first programming class I ever took was like coding out some blocks that would make some shapes on the screen, you know? And those are like literally like pixels, you know, like
Yeah,
squares, like sprites, I guess what you know, I'm not sure. That's what you were saying sprites before, and you were talking about getting sprites for that other game that you built. I was like thinking, oh, that's like you're doing like pixel by pixel. I wonder what the difference between a sprite and a pixel is, but it looks like the actual difference is just it's not really, you know, just a small
well,
PNG GIF.
yeah, a sprite is like has multiple pixels, right?
Right.
Like this one, I think it's
Yeah.
these are
I'm
little.
thinking pixels like Nintendo Entertainment System. You know what I mean?
These are like 16 by 16 sprite or 16 by 16 pixels for one sprite.
Got it. All right, let's drag that bad boy on. Let's
So I'm gonna open up
sprite.
this sprite editor first. So I'm gonna draw it. Basically, this is where I'm gonna tell it where the divisions and the frames are.
Oh,
So
so
I
you're gonna
tell
slice
it
it.
like this is frame 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, slicing it.
This is like Photoshop, man.
Yeah, this one is pretty. I like this editor here. It's pretty good. The way that you can select these things. So, I mean, there's a lot of ways to specify it here. I could say the exact size I want it, or I like to just do this cell count. So I have 1 row and 4 columns, and I say slice, and then it might be pretty hard to see, but there's like a white line here
Yeah, I can
and
see it.
here and here, so I know that it sliced it in the right spots.
Yeah, and then you can also do. Can you slice manually or?
So if I wanted to do that, I could do this cell size and then say 16 by 16. But do you mean like a more irregular shape?
No, just slicing it basically with your mouse and drawing squares around it. You know what I mean? Like
Oh,
that's how Photoshop would slice it. But this is cool. That makes sense.
no,
It's
yeah,
not leaving it up to chance because you
yeah,
can't screw it up.
right. And there,
I mean, you could screw it
I
up,
could
but
do,
it won't break
I could,
anything else, right?
yeah, I could do talk about sprite editors too, because actually
Okay.
I like doing that as well. But that's a different time.
Yeah.
So I apply that here,
Mm-hmm.
and then see, I open this up, and then I have bird 0, 1, 2, 3.
Got it. That's cool. And that's because you sliced it already, right?
Right. Oh, hold on. I think I just noticed. I think I want to move this. Let me see. Okay, so I just moved the ground so that it's not a child of the main camera.
Right.
So the reason I did that is because that way when the main camera moves, you'll see like movement in the ground, or it'll pan along the ground. So you'll be looking here and then here and then here. So you'll see actual changes in this dirt here.
Got it.
But the sky looks the same
Mm-hmm.
horizontally, so it's just going to pan along it.
Got it.
Okay,
So basically, a 2D game by default, it's going to scroll from one side to the other side, whether it's left to right, right to left.
not necessarily. I mean, that's just common thing for 2D games, but
right.
that's not like built into the engine.
Okay.
That's just because my sprites are the ground sprite is like a long horizontal sprite.
Okay. So basically, you're going to make that happen by but on purpose, right? You're going to create that effect. Okay. Go for it.
Okay. So now I'm going to move these into here. And then so it knows I'm making an animation. So I'm going to go up here. So I'm creating the bird animation here.
Okay. So that only grabbed one, or did that grab all four of them?
So it grabbed all of them.
But it's writing it as one?
Yeah. I'll get to the... You'll see the changes in the frames in a second here.
Okay. What are you doing there?
So if I go up, these are the assets that I've created, and then it created this new bird animation. But I would like to rename this here. I'm going to open up the... Trying to see where I can rename this.
Doesn't seem to be an option from there, huh?
No. All right. That's okay. Bird animation is not that bad.
Yeah. Lisa has bird. But you said animation like that wouldn't be helpful, right?
Yeah.
So why do you have bird animation and then bird 0? Any state entry, okay.
That's a good question. That's what I'm checking right now. The bird 0 is this one here, where it's like this states and stuff. Oh, so this, okay, now I got it. This is like your controller, basically. So if you had this is like your logic of what animation to be in, and then this one is the actual animation itself. So
Got it.
that's why I wanted to rename it to be fly, because it's a little bit more
Ah,
clear. So you enter the fly animation, and then you would have like a pointer that goes from here to a new one called like die or something.
got it.
And then you have
Different
like,
different states
yeah,
basically,
like
or
logic as
different. Yeah,
well.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. So there's just,
you just streamed your mistake. That's okay. It works out well.
yeah,
I mean, this
just
is a
doing what
learning
we set out
process,
to,
right?
right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Right.
That makes sense. So then now that you know what that was actually doing, then you would rename it properly with some type of adjective or description of the action that is
Right.
going
Because
that
that's like
it
right.
represents.
That's a more specific one.
Right.
Later on, if I came in with this bright sheet of like you said before, the burning one, then we could do that or something.
Flaming bird.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I clicked on this bird animation here, and then I'm gonna change the speed to 0.5, and that's the speed that it cycles through the different frames.
got it.
Okay, and then I'm gonna go back to the game here, and then let's check play. And there it is already.
Nice. What's those little? Do you see those little artifacts, or is that just me?
Yeah, I do see those.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I think that might be the way that I sliced it.
You sliced it, yeah. That's okay. It's totally acceptable. I just that those are like maybe the screen.
I think that's no. I think that's like the slices from the
front and the back of it. Yeah,
yeah. Like it's gone a little bit too far.
it's okay.
But I'm not going to worry about that for right now. I can go back
Yeah.
to that.
No, just keep going forward. I'm just curious if that was there or I was just seeing it in the
Right.
lag or something, right?
Right.
Or maybe because especially when it's like heavy graphic stuff, a lot of times they'll show you like a preview, but not like the fully rendered version, right? They might clean it up later. So
right. Yeah, or I could just say, "Oh, it looks fine on my end. Must be a
right,
problem with the stream."
Google Hangouts. Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to add the same thing I did with the ground here. I'm going to add the component for collisions, but I'm going to use the circle collider this time since it's a circle.
Got it. So basically, you're just putting in the type of collider, the shape, circle, or box, and you're not changing anything else on that for this demo, right?
Right. Yeah, pretty much. There's not.
And basically, when you select that object and add that component to that object, it basically as a property or whatever, it is only encapsulating those pixels, right? That size,
Right.
that's bright.
That's right.
So it knows, right? It's not like grabbing like an extra 5 pixels around the edge for the sky or whatever, right? It's just grabbing that very bright. Got it.
So then I'm also going to add this rigid body 2D, and then this one basically handles like any kind of like movement and gravity and that sort of thing.
Rigid body.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me check these things. So this is where I could. These ones might actually be a little bit more helpful. These settings here, like if you wanted to make it fall down really fast, you change the gravity scale. But I'm just going to leave this all alone for now.
Okay. And mass
And
makes
then
it heavier. right? The mass would make it
Yeah,
heavier. So what would be the? I
yeah.
guess that's curious. Like, what would be the difference between the mass and the gravity scale?
So okay, so if you had like two objects colliding or something, the one with more mass
Would
would
win?
have more pushing force.
Got it.
Yeah, and or like if you are trying to push one object with another object, if it was a large mass moving into a small mass, then it would easily push it.
Got it. Okay.
But the gravity scale
It's what's
is
pulling
going to be
down.
more. Yeah.
Okay.
So then, even with like with all the logic that comes with this thing here, I can just press play here, and then it starts.
He
Do you
falls
see
right down.
that?
Yeah, he went
Yeah.
straight down. That's funny.
So I could mess around, like change the gravity, and then you would see it would take longer to fall down
That was pretty
or
fast.
whatnot. Yeah. Yeah. That's something you have to. I'll have to like. That's something you fine tune when
Right,
the
right,
game
right.
is actually running.
Depending on the actual gameplay.
Right.
Got it.
Okay. So now I'm going to do this. Now I'm also going to add a script because we want some logic here. I'm going to have to code something. So bird and then C#. Yeah, I could do JavaScript as well, but I'm going to do C#.
That's interesting. You could do JavaScript as well. That's super interesting.
Yeah.
And they made this. That's like easy entry with those two languages. There are people that
Right.
almost everyone can write web stuff in JavaScript, and then C# is still really popular. As much as people hate it or look down on it. You know what I mean, just because it's
Yeah.
mostly business software. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, so then this is when you're going to use the editor.
Right. So, okay, so I'm going to make a folder here for scripts. I'm going to put a script in there.
All right, so now you can open the script. Oh, so it opens to Visual Studio.
Um,
Is that because it's your default C# editor?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Last time I used this, it was a little weird. Like it opened up a few different editors. So I'm just going to see what happens here.
Okay, looks like you got black bars right now.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Which is
because Visual Studio opened up, but it'll give me a second. I'm going to
Sure.
have to
Yeah,
wait
that's
for this
fine.
to load.
Anyone who uses Visual Studio will forgive you. Although I hear good things about the new one, 2017. It's supposed to be really fast to install,
Fast to start up.
fast to start up. Yeah.
That's, I mean, it's pretty good, but yeah, the startup time seemed to be the worst time.
Yeah. It's kind of why I like
You can
Visual
get that all
Studio.
out of the way though.
Visual Studio Code.
Oh yeah.
It's just
Right.
lightweight, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I could also just edit these in a different editor,
Yeah.
but yeah,
I mean,
that just popped up.
yeah, no, it seems like if you're just doing, not a lot of coding or whatnot, doing something like that would be easy to do in Notepad or Notepad plus plus or Visual Studio Code or one of the other editors, just because you can get some intelligence in it, you know.
Right. Okay. This one's.
So what's going on? Is it still opening up on your end?
Visual Studio is harassing me about signing in or something. But maybe I'll just go to Notepad here.
Just trying to sign up for Windows 10 Creators Update.
Yeah. So give me a second.
You just forced that update on me.
Creator update?
Yeah, the Creator update for Windows 10. It kept on bugging me like for a month. I was like, all right, just fucking do it.
Okay, let's go over to, I'm going to share. This one, okay. Does this one have black bars?
No, it looks good.
All right. So you see, this is like the very first, or this is just the template that gets loaded in when you create a new script.
Okay.
So you have these two functions, your start and your update. So I could put some, so start is like anything you want to do that's going to run for the first time. So there, I don't know, maybe like set like a health variable or something. And then update is something that's going to be called like repeatedly every frame. So maybe if you had like
update is called, so it's literally called once per frame.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So I'm guessing they have a whole host of other methods, right? That you can use. Start, update.
Oh, right. There are other ones.
Right, more than two, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So what are you gonna do here?
So first, I'm gonna add a variable here and make typos.
Mistakes. Shoot, mistakes.
So it's useful to have like these variables, just because then you can tune them easily.
Mm-hmm.
And this one might get into it here, this tutorial, but if there's a way where I can have variables here, and then I just set the values from the Unity editor itself. So if your code is all complete, you don't have to keep opening up your script.
Got it.
So, and then on the start here, I'm going to say, the bird is going to be constantly flying to the right
direction.
So here I get remember the rigid body 2D object is like responsible for all the movement.
Velocity.
I get it, and then I set the So this is setting the velocity vector. This here is like a standard vector. It's like the unit vector pointing to the right. And then I'm going to multiply it by the speed. So this is like saying go to the right at this speed.
Got it.
And then that's just going to be a constant speed. So I only have to set it once. Okay, so I'm going to save that. And then go back. Go back to the other thing for a second.
You're looking mighty blue today, Matt.
Yeah, Al. Should remind me to change it after we finish today.
Yeah, I'm gonna make you put the little bird on there at least. Something. It doesn't have to be your real face, just a bird.
Yeah.
Little Flappy bird. Go for it.
Okay.
That's awesome. It's like a little bowling ball.
I didn't know it was
what
like.
happens? It just went off screen. He just keeps going. Or why is he moving forward and not everything else?
Because the camera is not tied to him or anything.
Okay, so tell me, what were you expecting to see? Because that was awesome.
So I wasn't expecting it to spin around like that. There
What
are
were you
probably
expecting to see?
settings here where I could lock it on a certain axis, but that was interesting.
That was awesome.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to editing here for a little bit. Flap force here. So this is going to be like when you press the flap button, how hard does it flap? It's like how fast do you start moving up?
Right.
So on every frame, I'm going to be checking if the user has pressed the flap button.
Okay, so basically per frame, how many frames per second is this going to be running at? 29, 30?
Yeah, I think it's a setting somewhere, but it would be roughly like 30 or 20 or 30, somewhere around there.
Yeah, it's like the default, right? Like TV's like 25, 24, something like that, I think it was.
Yeah. So here I'm actually looking for the space key.
Okay, so like the space bar.
Yeah, but what I've done before also is there are some functions where you leave it more generic in the code, and then
Assign it.
you have a setting somewhere where you assign your controls or something.
Got it.
For this, I'll just this way.
That's like on how like, real games you can basically assign actions are to a certain, map it to your liking, right? A controller.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I've only made a few things here, but so far I like it. It's a good balance of like power when you need it, and also simplicity when you don't feel like it.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it has a ton of stuff. It's crazy, but it's not too crazy though. I guess it's like you said. Seems like it's enough for someone to walk through with a little bit of help.
Right.
Yet complex enough to build some serious stuff.
Right. Okay, so that should be good enough, but
let's give it a try. Come on, let's see.
Okay.
Let's see if he rolls. If he rolls on the floor like a bowling ball again. That was awesome. No, but the camera's not following. It's not tied to me. I thought it was tied to the sky or something.
Yeah. Well, no, the other way around. The sky is tied to the camera.
Got it.
Okay, so I'm pressing. I just mashed space. So that's it. The flap force. So space.
Okay. Well, why did he fly straight up right now?
He flew straight up because I didn't realize how fast. If I just hit it 10 times a second, then he just goes straight up.
Okay, so the frames are actually, it's going a lot. It's there's a lot more frames per second than just one, right?
Oh yeah.
Got it. Okay.
I'm not sure exactly, but it's somewhere like 20 to 30.
Yeah.
There's probably a setting somewhere.
Yeah, I would guess we got to figure that out. The default is going to be like just some default TV stuff. It's at least 20. I'm thinking like 24 is like the Once you
Yeah.
start slowing down past that frame rate, the human eye starts noticing like it's like choppy, it's slow.
Right.
And like some games are like 30, 60, like the HD ones are like 60 frames per second. So
Right. Okay, so I'm going to add another. So this is like you said, right, where there's other functions that you can have here. So this one is on collision. Right, so this one is going to happen when it collides with some other
2D object.
2D object, yeah. And then what we want to do for that is restart.
Game over, basically.
Yeah.
Reset. Got it. So where is that going to be called from then?
So this is like one that will happen when this happens, when the collision happens. It's going to call this function, and then this line of code will actually restart the current level.
Okay. So on collision enter 2D, it's basically like a listener. It's listening.
Yeah, you could think of it like that.
Because you're not calling. Yeah, because I'm thinking. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm not calling it, but the Unity engine is calling it.
Right. Yeah, because I thought you were making a method here, and then a collision 2D type, and then bring a COLL. I was like, okay, so he's gonna call it somewhere else if this, then pass it this, and do
so
this.
This thing here is I'm getting the object. This is the 2D collider of the object that is actually colliding with. Okay. So, and this one I'm just restarting, but say if I was writing something for like a fire
or explosion or something, right?
Yeah, an explosion. Then I would use this and then like destroy whatever it is that I just collided into.
Got it. Okay. I think we're gonna probably be using this project for several episodes to play with. Be pretty fun to do with it.
Yeah. I think it's good to, after this, we can just do our own things on it.
Yeah. All right. Continue.
Okay, so the next step here, I'm going to go back to Unity. And now, so like you said, the camera is not actually following. I'm going to add a script to the camera. So I've done the same thing here. I click on the main, I click on the main camera in the hierarchy, and then add components, new script, and then let's call this one camera follow.
Okay, I'm surprised they wouldn't have something like that built into the UI as far as to do that. You know what I mean? That seems pretty basic.
Well, so I think so I'm going to move this camera follow into the scripts. So I think the reason this one is a little bit special is the camera is going to be moving to the right constantly along with the bird, but it's not going to be going up and down with the bird. You know what I mean?
Got it. Okay, so if it was following, if you just had it behind it, you would follow it to like say a dungeon and just keep going through the walls and whatnot, right?
Right.
It's centered as it moved left, right, up, down, whatever, right?
Right.
Okay, I mean that makes sense.
Okay. So, uh, you know what? Actually, why don't I just share the full screen so I don't have to keep switching between this?
Yeah, that'd be good. It'd be faster. Yeah, I think that's what we should do before we start, especially when we start doing the what do you call it, the Twitch TV. You know,
Yeah. Well, with
the
Twitch, you have like
more
each
options.
thing would be broadcasting. Okay, so this is the script that
Camera
came
follow.
with. So I'm not going to do anything with the start. So it says remove it.
So this will be on update, or you're going to put a new function in there.
So first, I'm going to have to give this variable to myself. This is the transform of what object I'm going to follow the target, which in this case is going to be the bird.
Okay.
And that's something that I can select from the inspector later on, the Unity editor.
Right.
So I assume that it's been selected, so I'm going to access the position here. So this transform.position is the position of the camera. And what I'm going to do is set the position of the camera equal to the position of the target of the bird, or not entirely equal to it, but we'll see in a second. So it's setting the horizontal position equal to the horizontal position of the other thing, which of the bird, but not the vertical or the Z.
Okay, so these are different axes, basically, right?
Yeah. So I think that's why this isn't already built in, because that's a little bit unusual the way that we're doing it here.
Okay. Well, I mean, I see that it's different than maybe how it normally would function, but you know, it can't be. Well, I guess I feel
Yeah,
like
I
it's
guess you're
common
right.
for 2D games, you know.
Right.
And I only
Yeah,
say
you're
I only
right.
say that I only say that because looking at what you've shown me so far on Unity, they have ton of stuff, right? Ton
Right.
of functions and controls. Like, why don't they just have this one too? You know.
You know, maybe they do. I don't know, actually.
Fair enough. That's fine. I just curious.
Right. So, okay. So it says here, uh, it's good practice in Unity to have your camera changes be the last update, so that it'll be smoothest.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than using the update function, I'm going to use the late update function. So that this one is
Oh,
this
so it
one's going to happen after the
doesn't look
other.
skip or jump it. It's at the end of the frames,
Right.
the last of the frames. So that it's basically trailing at the end of all the other action that's happening on the screen. Depending.
Right.
Got it. That makes sense. That's interesting.
So now I'm going to go back here to Unity. So this is showing all right, right?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay. So within the main camera here, Where's my script?
So you select the bird.
See the bird. See how here I can see this speed and force variable from out here.
Oh, those are the ones. Okay, so basically the variables you put in
So
are
that's
showing up now in the UI. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you're just creating like the settings, a setting file over there, and then you can adjust it from the UI over here.
Right. Yeah, it's a lot easier to work with, and then you just keep more of your things within this editor. So here's the script. The other thing, this transform that I had from before. So this one, I'm going to set it to be the bird so that it follows the bird. Right.
Got it.
And then let's try this. Okay, so see now it's following the bird.
Yeah.
I'm upping it here. And now cool. I want to test the collision, the restart on collision. So I'm going to let it fall into the ground, see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, nothing happened.
No, something did happen. Why is it finishing?
Oh.
That was awesome. Something did happen, not what you expected though. Right?
Right. Well, I expected it to finish.
Right.
Because I haven't had any logic for looping it or anything.
So, but after you hit the ground, were you not able to flap anymore?
Oh, I could. I just wanted to see it fall down.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that one that I set, if you remember that restart thing, that didn't quite work out. But.
No, it didn't. That should have reset basically where you started, like respawn you right from the beginning.
That is back here, bird.cs on collision, enter 2D. Oh, looks like I spelled it wrong.
Oh, so it doesn't give you any, you don't have any like squiggly lines when it's wrong or something, right?
Yeah, maybe if I was using Visual Studio, it might have given me some like notice that this isn't override. But
it would have given you an error trying to compile or right off the bat.
Yeah, let's try that, see if that made it work. Okay, see that? Now if I let it go, then it restarts.
Oh, yeah, it just looks like you're bouncing off of it, actually. It's funny.
Yeah, that's because the logic is on collide, just restart. Right. So there's nothing like, no transition or anything at all, but at least it's doing what I expected.
Right. So basically there you can add more logic or other screens saying like game over or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. Show the score and then wait until you press a button to restart or something.
Got it.
Okay.
Have you ever played the dinosaur game on Chrome?
Yeah.
When you're offline, damn, that's like one of my favorite ones. It's so good.
Right. That's got a pretty high score on that one.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's add the obstacle now. So I'm going to do this same thing, 16 volts per unit. Apply. And now I'm going to drag it in here, create a game object. Okay, I'm going to position it here, transform.
It's behind the dirt, the ground.
That's level. Right. Yeah. Which makes sense.
There's 0, and you put the ground as 1, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So since this one's going to collide, I'm also going to give it the box collider 2D here so that it will handle physics collision with bird. And then since I don't want the ground to be colliding with the obstacle, I'm also going to put this on the weird physics layer I created earlier.
Got it.
And then, so I guess we're going to have these moving. So I'm going to add the rigid body because that handles any movement. And then I don't want this to be just falling due to gravity. So I'm going to turn off gravity, set it to 0 here so it will stay in place.
Okay.
And then so I don't want it to rotate either. So if I do this freeze rotation Z, and then actually, I guess I didn't think about this. I could also do that with the bird, but I kind of like it how the bird rolls around on the ground
really
like
funny,
that.
Yeah. Oh, I like that a lot too.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Okay.
So I'm gonna try right now. Just
See
what I
happens.
expect is that obstacle stays in place, and if the bird hits it, it will restart.
Okay.
Oops. Okay. All right. So
So it's
that's
hitting
good.
it.
Yeah, it's a little bit jumpy, but
All right. So this is the magic part. I want to see how you're able to generate these.
multiple obstacles.
Yeah, from one object.
Right. So first, I'm gonna add the script
Right.
here as we do.
So you're saying obstacle here, but in reality, you would call this like a log or something, right? If it was a game with more stuff, you would have multiple obstacles, right?
That depends. Um, yeah, it depends on what actually is happening. Because if it's just an obstacle, maybe that's generic, and then I would use the same logic, and then it would just be like a different sprite or something, right? Like you might have like a cone, or
so you can add that code to multiple sprites.
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so now I have that. I'm gonna get out the editor. Open the obstacle code. Give each one a speed variable. So I actually, this is different from Flappy Bird, but the way this tutorial is going to do it is some of the obstacles will have movement, vertical movement. So this is similar code to the bird start, where I'm getting the rigid body, which is like the movement is responsible for movement. But instead of moving to the right, this one will move up with the given speed. But for some that have 0, it will not move.
Right.
So I want it to move up and then down and then up and then down, like keep oscillating like that.
Right.
So I'm going to add this variable here. So this is basically how fast it's going to change from going up and down. So it's going to wait. It's going to go up for 2 seconds and then go down for 2 seconds and then up for 2 seconds and so on.
Okay.
So I'm going to write a function here called switch, which is change the direction basically.
So is that one that's built in, or that's something that's you're creating?
No. This is one that I'm creating. So that means I'm going to have to call it myself somewhere.
Got it. I guess when you're doing it here in Notepad++, there's no way to tell whether it's something you're creating or you're just using something from a library.
So does this make sense here? Multiplying by -1 is basically just changing the direction of whatever. It's the opposite, go in the opposite direction at the same speed. That's basically what it's doing. So to call that, I'm going to use this built-in thing from Unity, this function called invoke repeating. So this is actually going to call my switch function every few seconds, or every switch time seconds.
Okay, so you wouldn't put that in the update then in the start. That goes. It looks like. Why would that be? Why do you think?
So because I'm telling it to call this every few seconds, so I only have to tell it
right from the beginning
to
just
do
once.
that once.
And
It's going to be happening repeatedly, but I only have to run that code to tell it.
You don't have to say it to check during every frame.
Right. In theory, I could do something like in the update.
Right. That's more.
And check has enough time passed, but
that's more efficient.
This function is already written for me.
Right. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Got it.
Okay. So now back to Unity and try that out.
You have to touch that script,
look
right?
Look at that. Looks like I've got an error. So I did the same thing again.
You just put 2. There you go.
Okay. So I attached the script to it when I created it.
Okay.
So I'm going to set this speed here to 1. And then when I play this, I expect it to be moving up and down. And it should take 2 seconds to go all the way up or all the way down. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
All right. So that's not bad. So if I change the speed, then it would move faster and farther. And then if I change the switch time, if I increase the switch time, then it would move in one direction for longer.
Got it. That's really cool. So it just takes care of the animation for you, basically.
Right.
Got it. Cool.
Okay.
So you just duplicate that obstacle.
Oh. Yeah, so okay. So I'm gonna just create this other one here. So if I set this scale to -1, it's gonna make it like an inverse version. Maybe a little higher.
Okay, that's interesting. Oh, so basically, that same code is affecting both of them at the same time.
Well, so they're each running their own copy of that class.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But it's because it's a mirror image. It's working in unison with it, right?
It's not really in unison. They're just operating individually. It just looks that way because they're running the same code, so they're doing the same behavior.
Right, right,
But
right.
there's no communication or anything between them.
No, no, no. I understand that, but because
Oh,
it's the
okay.
same code, it's
Yeah.
they're working. If you put, yeah, okay, that makes sense. Cool. That's kind of cool.
Okay.
I mean,
So
how are you going to duplicate add different variables to them?
so that's actually the end of the tutorial. It doesn't go into
Okay,
that part, but
maybe we can figure that out
yeah,
next. I think we're almost like probably close to an hour
yeah,
or so now.
yeah. I think it's. I think we did 2 hours. No, no,
No, we
an
started a
hour
little
20
late.
minutes.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, that's a good start. I mean, I thought you were
Yeah,
gonna do more, but that's good because there's still a lot to play with in the
yeah, and
new
there's a
ones.
lot of directions to go from here to add
Yeah.
on to this, or new things
Okay.
to try and
The
whatnot.
only thing I do want to see, Matt, is can we look at the files that this project Untitled creates in your file structure so that if you check in anything to GitHub, we can see what's going to be uploaded. What would you upload? What would you ignore?
Okay,
Yeah.
so let me save this here. So the untitled is the name of the scene. So I'm just going to call this main. I guess you would do different scenes if you have like different levels or something.
Right.
So let's go to the. So here's the Flappy Bird folder.
Oh, there's the project file and this.
Yeah. And then I have some garbage there. I haven't really played around with this. So
So
obviously
probably
you don't need the temp, right?
probably temp you don't need, right?
Most of the stuff that I just did right now is within here, this
Mm-hmm.
assets. So you
Okay.
can see this is like some of the
The
animation
folders you
data,
created, yeah.
this
The
bird
scripts,
animation.
the
Yeah,
sprites,
the scene is like the individual, like the placement of objects and stuff.
Mhm.
The scripts, the sprites. Yeah.
Okay. Let's try to check it in. We'll put a link to that in the GitHub or whatever into the show notes. And then
Yeah,
what I'll
I'll
do
look it
is
up and see what the best way to share it is.
yeah, and maybe you can write a little bit on the blog about what actually is needed because we won't do it right now, but what to actually upload. Maybe they have like a Git file ignore that tells you,
Yeah,
here's
I'll
what
check it, see the best way to share it is.
and then what I'll try to do is I'll actually install Unity and I'll try to download it and see if I can open it up on my end just from the
Okay. Yeah.
GitHub
Sure.
check-in, because that'd be cool. Because then you could work on a project, which there's got to be people working on this, more than one person in different locations, right? So
Right.
there's got to be
For
someone to do
sure.
that. So
And there's also, yeah, there's also, I could try, maybe we'll say that for a different episode, but where you actually build it
and
and
deploy it.
then it will give you like some, yeah, there's a lot of different forms you can put it in, like a standalone executable, or you could get like a web version, and then you have some
And you can put this
HTML
into like
code.
an iPhone too, right? Like, or a mobile phone, smartphone, right?
Yeah, that's one of the build options.
Okay.
Or you
Yeah,
could
we'll do
kind
that
of go
later.
through the web. Yeah, there's lots.
Maybe once we get some idea of some kind of game, maybe we'll try to build a game and get it into the App Store. That'd be kind of cool.
Sure. Yeah.
That'd be a good project. That'd be a
Yeah.
longer slug, but we can figure it out. I think. Maybe
Yeah.
open source it so everyone else can help us.
Make it better.
Well, yeah, you get someone to do like some of the sprites and graphics, right? Someone else do some sound and do someone else whatever,
Right.
right? Maybe someone can't
Right.
code as well as you, so do that, So yeah,
Right.
make it kind of neat. All right, cool, Matt. Well, sounds good. I think this was a good one. Learned a lot today. I think I'll have to give this a try because I want to play with this too. I think
Yeah, you should download it. Try it out.
I will. I will. All right, we'll upload this to GitHub and we'll put the links in the show notes and we'll see what we do next week. Maybe we'll do some of this or maybe we'll do something else. We'll do this again for sure,
All
though.
right. All right. Sounds good.
All right. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.